Welcome in, belly up, have a seat, and grab a drink as we talk some Wingman Fantasy Football. Welcome into another edition of Wingman Fantasy Football, the League podcast. I'm your host, Michael Furley, and as always, I'm joined by my good pal here, Bernie, a.k.a. Team B.
I'm Cuban B. Yes, Cuban B.
How are you doing today, Bernie?
I am doing wonderful, Mike. It is one more week until our Wingman Fantasy Football Draft.
I was going to ask you that. Are you starting to get the tingles?
Oh, yeah. Well, my brain's been tingling with all the information I've consumed, but
nice.
Yes.
All right, guys, this is episode 88, a Wingman Fantasy Football mock draft. And before we get started, let's make sure that everybody is in the room. Wingman Assemble! All right, now that everyone is here, I'm going to start off with a little bit of a potential tin hat conspiracy. Unfortunately, this morning I went to move over the video footage of the draft drawing, and the footage was lost. It was recorded over, and I don't know what happened here. It was my intention to show you exactly how the draft drawing took place, and it seems to be gone. There might be a cover-up. Well, I'm not saying it's a cover-up, but many people are saying it's a cover-up. Some people are saying it's the biggest cover-up that any of us have ever seen before. I'm not going to say that. What do you think about this potential conspiracy?
I got one word for you. Collusion.
Oh. Zoe, I told her to pick number 6 for me. It's my favorite number, and she did it. Good girl.
No, maybe it was, Chinese or Russian hackers.
Oh, that... Being that yes, let's just say yes. I had a whole thing to say that couldn't have been, but yes, for all we know, it was definitely Russian/Chinese/Iranian hackers.
Oh, I forgot the Iranians. Yes.
You know, we better hurry up the show before we get hacked and this thing gets canceled right off of YouTube.
Oh, they've already overdubbed us with saying something that we shouldn't be saying.
All
anyway.
right. With that being said, we have gone over our positional previews. Of course, what we deemed important positions like the quarterback, the wide receiver / tight end, and of course the running backs. But how could we overlook the most important positions in all of fantasy football? The kickers and the defenses. I know this is a position that is near and dear to your heart, Bernie. What do you have to say about the rankings of these positions?
I did not accidentally skip them or accidentally forget about them. I purposely skipped them and purposely forgot about them because they are the most important positions, and I'm not giving anybody any leverage on my kicker and defensive picks. Okay.
We can only help you so much, but when it comes down to the consistent scoring kickers and defense, you've got to figure that out all on your own. Wingman will not help you when it comes to kickers or defenses.
I will give one draft strategy I'm going to try to implement this year with my kicker. Make sure that kicker is kicking on Sunday night.
Sunday night games, that's the trick?
Oh, that's the trick.
All right. Sorry to reach, but that looks a little goofy there. I know you can't see, but I just did a reach behind you there to grab something. I apologize. All right. All right. So now let's get into some news and notes. All right. In league news, Ken's Tampa Brady has changed his name. His team name is going to be known as the Fantastics. What do you think about that name change there, Bernie?
I like it. The Fantastics. Did he change his logo or just the name?
He did change his logo. It is to an upright generic football, but he definitely changed the logo. Yes.
Okay. Yes. I was wondering why the Dolphin fan had Tampa Brady for so long.
Well, it became, I understand. Right. So also in league news, Paul's Cubert Rage has updated his avatar in the Yahoo system from the generic colored team helmet to a Cubert avatar, completing the full transformation into the frustrated classic arcade character of Cubert. Well done, Paul's Cubert Rage. It's nice that you embrace the rage from Cubert.
Yes, and not to bring up any pop culture references, but weird seems to be a thing now, and some might say that I'm weird because I've never played Cubert.
On a side note, have you ever been to those? Not this particular bar, of course, but they have like some bars that have just classic retro games that are free because they're like old games.
Yeah, and sticky too. Usually they're
And
sticky.
sticky.
Yeah.
Well, we went to a place that had Kubert there, and that game was impossible. I don't know if it was the stickiness of the joystick. I cannot get that guy to move in any direction I want him to go.
And that's why he's got so much rage.
Very much so. Very much. All right. Now, to let you guys know, like we kind of mentioned with the conspiracy of the lost footage, our league, the Wingman Fantasy Football League, did draw our draft order Saturday afternoon, and we will unveil that draft order as we get closer to our mock draft in today's show. But before we do that, let's get into some player news, NFL player news, before we move along to our mock draft. Starting off with Jamar Chase has returned to practice, indicating that a contract stalemate may be coming to an end, and that'll make managers a lot less wary going into that first round pick. Also, both Pierre Strong and Deontay Foreman have both sustained injuries this week, seemingly leaving the Browns' backfield to Jerome Ford to handle all on his own. And Deshaun Watson, the ever enigma if he's healthy or not, according to his coaches, will have no limitations in terms of health as we approach week 1. And Jahmyr Gibbs is now feared to be questionable heading into week 1, according to the injury expert on CBS's Fantasy Football Today podcast. So this is not an official statement from the team, but from an injury analyst for that podcast. He seems to indicate that week 1 is in doubt, as well as potentially even week 2. All right, guys, it is now time to get into our mock draft. But before we do that, we need to let the people know what our draft positions are for the members of the Wingman Fantasy Football League. So let me put that up for you guys right now. All right, with the first pick, we have Katie's King George. Second pick is Jimerson's Red Sox Nation. The third pick actually is really the third pick is Ken's newly named Fantastics. Number 4 is Paul's Kubert Rage. Number 5 is Nick's Waddle Away.
Then he waddled away, waddle, waddle. Then
Sorry,
he waddled
Alex.
away, waddle, waddle.
Number 6 is yours truly. That's Michael Furley, a.k.a. Amazing Spidey. Number 7 is our last year runner-up for the championship game, and that is Corey's Mac Daddy 2s. Team 8 is the return of Andrew, a.k.a. Crazy Fish. And spot number 9 is it says Keith A here on the board, aka Bernie. That is Team B is pick number 9.
Yes, Cuban B.
With pick number 10, we have Reggio, aka Lionized. In pick 11, we have Ben's Brilliant Team, and in week 12, the Waddle Away cursed player himself is Alex's. They took our jobs. He is going to hold down the first turn in spot number 12. For our draft here. All right, let's see where I am.
Not a bad place to be in 12 in this draft. Not a bad place.
I think the back half of this draft, you either want to be top 4 or back half. The middle is kind of a tough spot.
Yeah.
I think.
Especially with the Jahmyr Gibbs news right now.
Right, exactly. Well, he's going to fall to the second round now, potentially. And that's not a bad second round pick when you have someone else in front of him already.
Right.
All right, guys, now it is time. It's time to Amakia go crazy with our very first mock fantasy football draft. All right, so we're going to go through this. Bear with me as I'm trying some new graphics to do this. So let's get this started here. All right, behind us is the first draft. Did the start is the question? Nope. All right. So we're going to pause this when it gets to our pick. Oh, wait, let me actually pause it real quick. Our first pick, which I don't have it up. Yes, our first pick, it was done by the rankings from NFL.com. Our second pick will be Sleepers rankings. Our third pick is from this draft app's rankings, and I tiered it to make it a 0 RB or hero RB, where I said they cannot draft any running backs between rounds 2 and 6. The next one, Team 4, is going to be Yahoo's rankings. And Team 5 here is ESPN's rankings. Team 6 will be CBS Sports' rankings. Week 7 is yours truly, the Wingman Consensus, and we will talk about that when it comes to our pick. Spot number 8 here is Fantasy Pros. Spot 9 is Real Time Sports. Spot 10 is also from this draft app's rankings, and this is a late QB streamer where I made it where he can't pick any quarterbacks until round 8. Team number 11 here is the Underdog Fantasy rankings, and Team 12 is from, again, this draft board's rankings, and it's an open strategy, no limitations, and you will see this rankings from this site is crazy, and it will mess up anybody out there, as won't take anyone you would expect, but that's just what it is, so you guys know. So we have 9 rankings that are from other sites, including Wingman Consensus, 3 that are on this draft boards with some limitations on some of the spots. So with that being said, let's continue on here. Our first pick is, of course, Christian McCaffrey. Let's see who goes number 2. CeeDee Lamb goes number 2. And a little bit of a surprise, Justin Jefferson goes 3. Let's see what's next here. In the 4th spot, Tyreek Hill goes 4. So we have 3 receivers in a row. ESPN's up on the clock, and they take Breece Hall. Now it's over to CBS Sports. And they take the other top running back, Bijan Robinson. All right, now it is up to you and me, Bernie, with our Wingman Consensus. I'm looking down. I've got the sheet right here on my side here.
Yeah,
so we
you
got a couple guys available here. Who are you looking at that's still available? Make your case. Who do you think we should take?
Oh, geez. Maybe we should take... Oh, is Hill off the board already? Oh man, I really like Amon-Ra. That's someone that I think I could get on board with. I think we should lean that way. The only concern I have with him is his quarterback. I do like him, but maybe there's somebody better? What do you think?
Well, I'm gonna look at what the actual consensus ranking says, and the next one up on the list, if you want to go straight mindless picks here, and it has Jamar Chase falling down to us to 7. And
Okay.
if we didn't have this news that we just heard today, I would definitely put in Amon-Ra St. Brown here. But with the potential of Jamar Chase's contract situation being solved before week 1, I think it's kind of a tie, and I think he's just the thoroughbred of this group. And
I concur.
think I'm gonna take first leanings away, if you don't mind. So we're going to settle in on Amon-Ra St. Brown. How's that? On Jamar Chase.
Jamar Chase, yes. Let's pull the trigger on Chase.
All right. So I apologize on that one. We'll go back and forth throughout this thing, and we'll see where we get. So we're waiting for this to finish this clock here. Pardon me for that. But we are going to take Jamar Chase with the 7th pick. Let's see how quickly Amon-Ra St. Brown goes right after that.
Yeah.
He was the very next pick. So Fantasy Pros takes Amon-Ra St. Brown. Real Time Sports is up, and let's see who they take. They take Saquon Barkley, kind of early for Barkley, but that's the next running back they have on their list. Now this is the late QB streamer auto draft from the Primetime Draft, and they take Marvin Harrison Jr. in the 1st round. Oh, wow. I told you these guys have whack rankings.
Well, that frees up some players for us on the comeback.
Okay, and now we have Underdog, and they take A.J. Brown with the 11th pick. I like that value there.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's to our open strategy of the prime time draft. Take any position, no limitations. Puka Nacua goes next at the 12th. And on the around the turn here, also with the open strategy team, let's see who they take. Josh Allen, an early quarterback taken off the board. Wow. This site I've noticed really likes quarterbacks and tight ends. Our next pick back from Underdog is Jonathan Taylor. I like that value. I think it's a fair pick and a good value.
It would have been nice for him to come. We had a couple more rounds there, but that's a good pickup.
Okay. All right. The late QB streamer team takes Jahmyr Gibbs. Real Time Sports is now up. They take Garrett Wilson. Now it's over to Fantasy Pros. Let's see what they take here. Kyron Williams.
Release the Kraken.
All right. Now it is over to us. Is that right?
Yep.
Yes, it's over to us. All right.
It's over to us.
All right. So I paused.
We're on the clock.
We're on the clock.
I think, what do we got here? We got one wide receiver so far. Should we just go ahead and stick with the wide receivers? Well, who do we have left for wide receivers?
So I've got
Garrett Wilson, Devontae Adams.
Well, Garrett Wilson just went.
Oh, Garrett Wilson just went.
So our next on our consensus here, we can talk this out. We have Devontae Adams, Deebo Samuel in terms of receivers.
Yeah.
If you want to go further down, Cooper Kupp is next, or you can go running back, which is just Derrick Henry, or then you have to drop down to someone like Travis Etienne. So I have the receivers higher than Derrick Henry here.
Yeah, so do I. Let's pull the trigger on the receiver. Maybe
Devontae Adams is next. I know he's a little older. This is a mock draft. We'll see how it plays out.
No, he's always got something to prove. Let's do that. Devontae
All right,
Adams.
we will do that. So we're going to take Devontae Adams here. Again, let me get the clock back and running. I pause it, so might take a second to kick in. So we starting out with Jamar Chase. See, Devontae Adams is the perfect number 2 type of receiver when you start out with that stud in the front. He's a guy who can help. You don't want to count on him to be your 1, but as a 2, that's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
All right, it's still I'm still putting it in there. There goes Devontae Adams. All right, next up, let's see if it's going to be Deebo Samuel if they go to the running backs with the CBS Sports pick, and it's going to be Derrick Henry. So if we wanted the running back, that was the next one to take on our list, and they followed suit. We decided to bolster our wide receiver core. Next up is ESPN. Isaiah Pacheco, a little further down our list, but he's probably one of the next running backs up. There's a big gap in players in our consensus there. Let's see who's up next for Yahoo. Yahoo goes with Mike Evans. So they have two receivers again. Tyreek Hill, Mike Evans is a perfect number 2 type receiver. Zero or hero RB. Since they didn't take a running back in the first round, they're going to go all receivers. Malik Neighbors goes in the second round.
Oh, the second big rookie. Okay, here we go.
Yeah, and that's both were taken by this draft, this board's auto draft. Yep. Sleeper takes Drake London, and now we're on NFL.com, who's going to be in the 2-3 turn. Let's see what they take here. Brandon Ayuk at the end of the second round, and they're going to start off the third round with, let's see, they already have McCaffrey and Ayuk, so they're doing San Francisco bolstered team. Their first pick of the third round will be Travis Etienne. That's all that kind of makes sense to me.
Yeah, East Coast and West Coast. There you go.
Yep. So now we're over to Sleeper on their on their third round pick. They take Christian Olave. So we're in that youngish third year wide receiver range we were talking about or 2 episodes ago.
Yep.
And now we're at the zero hero RB again. This is a jacked up rankings, and they take Sam Laporta.
Wow. Do they know? Okay, here we go. Yes, Sam Laporta.
Yahoo is now up. They take Devon Achane.
Good pick.
Now it's over to ESPN.
2 running
Patrick
backs.
Mahomes goes to ESPN.
Quarterback. Good. Okay.
So that's not bad. It's a third round quarterback. A little early, but not too early. If you want him, you take him.
Hey,
CBS Sports. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to say second QB off the board.
Yep. So CBS Sports they take Travis Kelce. So we have 2 tight ends taken in this third round here. So now it is up to us. And guess what? The best news of the day is right now for us. We had a choice on our consensus rankings between Devontae Adams and Deebo Samuel as a pick 'em for us. Guess who is still available in the next round?
Let's get a piece of that San Fran offense.
Deebo Samuel in the third round. It seems like a steal, or at least perfect.
Send in the card. Send in the card.
Send in the card. Nice job. So we got Adams and Deebo Samuel's our third receiver. And if you think Adams is not as good as Samuel, then you can just switch him. And Adams is our third receiver. We will take that. That's a great receiving core to start out with. Again, it's going to take a second as I just put in Deebo Samuel's now off the board, going to the Wingman Consensus team over to Fantasy Pros. They have Amon-Ra St. Brown and Kyron Williams. And let's see who they take. They double dip with a running back, Josh Jacobs, in the third round. I'm actually thinking most of these picks, except for the primetime draft board, have been pretty good.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Real-Time Sports takes Michael Pittman. That's a little early to me, but that's a personal preference. You had him rated way higher than I did.
Yeah, I like that Michael Pittman.
So now we're to the late QB streamers again. The jacked rankings here. Nico Collins goes. Actually, the jacked rankings takes a quality pick there. Nico Collins goes with the 10th pick of the third round. We're now over to Underdog Fantasy. Let's see here who they take. They take Rashad White. So they go to take 2 running backs with Jonathan Taylor and Rashad White. Now we're over to our open strategy. This is the primetime draft. They will take any position, no matter who it is. Best of it. Jalen Hurts. That's their second quarterback.
Oh, wow.
Josh Allen and Jalen Hurts. And now they have another pick in the 4th round. Who are they going to take with this one?
I'm rooting for a quarterback.
Lamar Jackson. They did it.
There we
go.
I'm
going to pause. I'm going to pause it here. Okay. Real quick. We have ability to pause this. All right, so this is ridiculous. We're going to start off with this. We're going to start off, we all accept this is ridiculous. They take 3 quarterbacks in the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th rounds. But if you remember when I said last time, you can't promise that Lamar Jackson will be available, so you take Hurts, and they're like, oh, well, of course he could in this case because, well, he couldn't guarantee they make it back to the other turn, their quarterback they wanted here, right? So you have 3 quarterbacks. You're not going to play them all, but you keep them away. So you have a stranglehold no matter which one of these guys has their best year. You are going to have the number 1 quarterback.
Oh, yeah. Your odds have
90% of the time. And I would say even more so, you're going to keep an opponent from having a number 1, 2, or 3 quarterback. So it's crazy. This is a crazy strategy. But the only time I would take 3 quarterbacks this early is if you could secure 3 of the top 4 quarterbacks.
Oh, yes, definitely. It's definitely not the best strategy for the 3 quarterbacks, but what you said is right on. You got the top 3 out of the top 4.
You're playing keep away. You've got trade chips.
You have blue chips. There you go.
Yeah. So, all right, let's get this clock back running. That was just so ridiculous that I want to talk about it.
Oh, yeah.
I would probably never advocate for it, but in this case, I could make a case why it's not the worst thing. All right, underdogs up, and they take James Cook early in the 4th round and is now up to the late QB streamer. Once again, this is set up not to take any quarterbacks till round 8 or later, and they're going to settle with Jalen Waddle in the 4th round. I love that value right there. That's a great pick.
Yeah, Jalen Waddle at 4. Yeah, that's a very good pick.
And even better value, Cooper Kupp goes next in the 4th round. Real Time Sports gets a steal with Cooper Kupp. All right, Fantasy Pros is now up, and they are on the clock. They take Stephon Diggs, so we have a nice run of 3 receivers here. We're going to pause it because it is our turn, and let's just talk about these receivers that went back-to-back here. Jalen Waddle, Cooper Kupp, Stephon Diggs. How would you rank these guys in a vacuum here, Mr. Bernie?
I would rank them the exact same way.
Yeah, you put Waddle ahead of Kupp?
Waddle, Kupp, Diggs.
That's a nice little group there. All right, so it is on us. So let's drop down to our list. Kupp was next on my list, and he just went away. Josh Jacobs is gone. So they took a lot of guys after who we have next here in our consensus. I know I'm the one who pushed them up with my ranking here. So
well, yeah, I think we need to look at the running backs, and I think I'm good with getting somebody that could catch the ball too.
Okay, so our next running backs in rank that are available is Alvin Kamara, Kenneth Walker, and Ramondre Stevenson. So that's a big gap. I've got Kenneth Walker and Alvin Kamara way far apart. I know you like Walker a little better, but I think even if you play the ADP game, Walker has a chance to make it back way more so than Kamara.
Yeah, probably. I would say that. Let's pull the trigger on Kamara.
Before I do, I think we are. I just want to talk this out one more time. The next receiver we have available, and he's by himself in a tier, is DK Metcalf. What's your thoughts on Kamara versus Metcalf?
Well, just because we've got those 3 receivers.
I agree. I think I know which way we're going to go. Before we do that, I just want to ask what your thoughts on those 2 players in a vacuum without any kind of a roster construction.
Oh, okay. I would probably pick Metcalf.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I understand that. So we're gonna go Kamara. Because we need a running back before they get too slim.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So it's fair to talk about Kamara versus DK Metcalf. We do have Kamara up next on our rankings, and he is the position that we need in running back. So we're going to pull the trigger here and take Alvin Kamara. There he goes off the board. Yeah. Next up is CBS Sports. They have 2 running backs. Their only receiver right now is Travis Kelce. Would that try and get a little help in the receiver core or bolster their already strong running back room? They get another running back. Joe Mixon goes.
Oh, wow. They're stocking up there.
I would have taken Metcalf there instead of Mixon, I think, if I were them.
Yeah, CBS Sports is really waiting for that big wide receiver, huh?
Yep. And then DK Metcalf does go to ESPN on the very next pick.
Yeah, there we go.
So we're up to Yahoo, takes Devontae Smith.
Good pick.
I think it's about where he would go. That's the avoid till later. I mean, yes, but not that price. I wouldn't take him there, but that's where he's going. All right, Our next quarterback off. I'm going to pause real quick because these quarterbacks have to be talked about now because of the way that Team 12 took. CJ Stroud just went off the list. He went off the same round as Lamar Jackson, and I have him way down in terms of projection. Maybe not ranking, but in terms of projection from Allen Hurts and Jackson. So by taking that crazy stack of quarterbacks, he has made the next team to take a quarterback fall down a full tier and a half. He's gonna, you know what I mean? So he's going to be,
those 3 quarterbacks in a row have definitely shifted everybody's priority. And those quarterbacks that they want need to get pushed up.
I think it's going to make the draft board here take quarterbacks that they think they need earlier than they should go.
Yep.
Or it's going to make these guys say, screw it, I didn't get my top 4 picks. I'm just going to wait till later. It's kind of what you're either reaching or you're just going to stream it.
Yep.
All right, let's keep moving along here. CJ Stroud went to the 0 RB team. Now it's over to Sleeper, who takes Trey McBride, another tight end off the board. And now it moves over to NFL.com. And they take another tight end, Mark Andrews. Again, I'm going to pause it here real quick because I think our top, there might be one more arguable tight end, but our top 4 tight ends have all been taken between rounds 3 and 4. The order in this case was, now these sites don't put them how we do it. We're playing wide receiver and tight end together, so that's fair. But they went Laporta, Kelce, McBride, Andrews. What do you think about that order of tight ends taken, regardless of their rank mixed in with receivers?
I think that's okay. I think it probably should be Kelce at the top still. He's got the crown, so I wouldn't take it away from him just yet. But I'm okay with this order just because it's like the quarterbacks, the top four, they're kind of interchangeable.
I think we can agree that these are the top four. You have McBride ahead of Kincaid, for example, or Kittle even.
Yep.
All right, so these are what we would assume the top four and the top four taken. All right, let's get to the second pick of in this turn for NFL.com. The first pick in the 5th round, they take Kenneth Walker, Texas Ranger. I would have loved for him to fall to us in this next round. Too bad he didn't make it back to us.
No, but they're looking pretty good with running backs at that NFL.com.
Yes.
Yep.
Next up is Zay Flowers. This is a prize pick. I've seen him go early in mock drafts all the time. I don't get it. 5th round pick, Zay Flowers.
I think he showed bursts, so I think he had a little fire under him.
I can't help myself. I got to pause it again because this is that 0 RB team, which again is the primetime fantasy draft, uses their rankings, and we know they love quarterbacks. So not only did they take Stroud in 4, they took Anthony Richardson in round 5. And in a weird way, again, I don't mind this because Richardson is a guy you don't trust, but if he takes off, he's a guy you could play. So it's nice to have a solid quarterback, although I would probably take someone more solid than Stroud because he's also a young player. But you kind of want your solid quarterback mixed in with Richardson. You don't want him to be your only quarterback. You want him to want to take over the room if he performs.
Yeah, but now they're probably going to start looking at tier 3, tier 4 running backs.
Well, they're the 0 RB team. They're not going to take a running back till around 6 or later.
Oh,
That's their strategy going in.
That's your strategy.
So I'm just saying that's how that one was set up.
Then those are good too, back to back. I agree.
Yeah, I think however you do it, I like Richardson as a second quarterback, and for him to be a second quarterback, he's got to be taken early.
Yep.
All right, so we're moving back to Yahoo, and they take Amari Cooper over to ESPN, and they're on the clock, and their team is balanced right now. 2 running backs, 1 quarterback, and a receiver with DK Metcalf. Let's see here. They add to the receiver room with DJ Moore. That's a nice number 2 receiver this late in the draft. Over to CBS Sports. Again, they are piling up the running backs. They got another running back. Zamir White goes. They are making sure.
Wow.
Does this remind you of the Amazing Spidey's team of last year?
Nah, a little bit, but not really.
All running backs in the first rounds here. All right, so it is back over to us, and we're still wide receiver heavy, so we don't need one. Next, if you went straight off the list here, our next player would be, man, if Kenneth Walker would have made it, that would have been next. But right behind Kenneth Walker on our consensus ranking is Ramondre Stevenson. Other players in this range here is James Conner.
Right.
And that's it until we get to the next page. So this tier, we have just James Conner or Ramondre Stevenson. Which way are you leaning here?
I would probably lean, I don't want to even say it. Stevenson, just because I don't see that team passing a whole lot. I still don't like picking that Patriot though, but he is the player to pick if you want to win.
And he's way younger, so if it's a tiebreaker, you kind of take the youth guy there, I would say.
Yeah.
But we have them back to back. James Conner, Ramondre Stevenson. We're going to go with Stevenson here. I think that's a fair pick for 5th round. That's a solid number 2 running back. We're going to need a little more help in that position, but that's pretty good.
Yeah.
All right, so that one's been put in now. So now we're over to Fantasy Pros. It's their turn to make their pick. Let's see who they take. TikTok. There we go. Dalton Kincaid. These sites really like their tight ends. Of course, they're not stored the way we are putting them together. So tight ends are going to move up a little bit. So Dalton Kincaid goes to Fantasy Pros. Now it is over to Real Time Sports, who takes George Pickens in the 5th round. I'm going to pause it real quick because we got to talk about him before. Yep. Do you think that was the for me? He was the yes, but not at that price. What do you think about the price of a late 5th round pick for George Pickens?
I can agree with that. Yes, it's just not at that price.
So this is not the price for us, right?
No.
Okay, I just want to make sure we're double check that we had the same thought, or if you thought that this would be a 5th round was appropriate for George Pickens.
No, I think that, I think you're a little too early.
Okay. Moving on to our late QB streamer. Again, they are forbidden from taking a quarterback. They are a jacked up ranking system. So let's see what they take. Jonathan Brooks. They take Jonathan Brooks for Carolina, who is going to miss the first 3 or 4 games coming from an injury, but he has potential to be a superstar once he gets on the field. So they have 2 running backs that are hurt right now.
Yep, they sure do.
Next is Aaron Jones for Underdog Fantasy. They take Aaron Jones. So they have 4 running backs now. Back over to our open strategy. They can't take another quarterback because they are maxed out at 3. That's the rule. So they take Keon Coleman, rookie for the Buffalo Bills. That's a little bit of a
Interesting
stretch.
pick. Yeah, that's a stretch.
But I actually, let's see. Their next pick might save him. Let's see. They back it with T. Higgins. I like that a lot better. So if you come out of here, T. Higgins and Coleman, they just did the opposite order. I would have taken him, but that's not bad.
Yeah, not bad.
I think Higgins has a chance to have a really good year this year. All right, back over to Underdog, who's already loaded with 4 running backs. Another running back. So again, we're taking them right straight off their list, regardless of positions, unless they are stated otherwise. Just to give you an idea, what the highest ranked players are, regardless of position. Evan Ingram then goes to the late QB streamer, our 6th tight end taken off the board. Now it is over to Real Time Sports. And they take James Conner. James Conner almost made it back to us. That would have been the next time we would have had our back-to-back players in our lineup, but he doesn't quite make it. So now it's over to Fantasy Pros, who takes David Montgomery, and it is now our pick. Let me just let that clear. All right. So David Montgomery went. What do you think about these running backs that went in this round? DeAndre Swift, James Conner, and David Montgomery.
I like them. I still think that you're probably stretching a little bit. There's probably some starters out there that are a little bit better, but I like it. It's not horrible.
I think Montgomery, I don't know what his value would be, but with the news of Gibbs, it gives him that extra round, half a round to a round and a half of like, I might as well block this up now. And he didn't take him from the handcuff guy. So he's already got Josh Jacobs and Kyrie Williams. So this is his 3rd running back. That's a beautiful 3rd running back / flex, I would say.
There's some nice guys out there though. If you're going for a 3rd back, Nick Chubb is still out there, and he could, for this particular team, having those 2 guys, if you wanted another running back, could be a late season superstar.
All right. So the pick is up to us. We are balanced. We have 3 receivers, 2 running backs. What quarterbacks are left on the board here? Let me see real quick. If we want to think about that, Dak Prescott is available, as well as Kyler Murray and Joe Burrow. Do you think are those guys you think we should not reach for, but take now, or are you good with taking someone later in terms of quarterback?
Out of those guys, I would say that either Kyler, or you know what? Both Joe and Dak have top 5, top 3 receivers on their team, so it's really a tough one.
I kind of want to take a quarterback here, but I'm also like, there's 3. It depends if you include Jordan Love in that group. There's 3 of them.
No, I wouldn't include Jordan Love in that group.
Okay, then there's 3. That's fair.
3.
That's fine.
Yeah,
there's
I would
3
put
guys
Jordan
out
Love
there
with Purdy. That's who I would put him with.
Okay, so there's 3 guys out there, and I think there's a chance we might get one of these in the next round. So there's 3 of them to go. You know what I mean? If there was one guy left of this tier, I would say definitely pull it. But with 3 guys, that's almost a whole tier available. I'd say let's kind of wait and see and gamble here.
Okay, well, let's do that.
We'll find out. That's the mock drafts are for. So we're going to gamble.
We got our flex position. We can put in another wide receiver.
Right. We
definitely
have we have a starter we could use in a regular position. So let's see. I've got next on our list here. Oh, actually, you know what? So we have Terry McLaurin or Calvin Ridley, Najee Harris, Raheem Mostert. Oh, those are tough. Those are all good.
Yeah, those are all good. So, in
general, would you want another receiver or running back in a half-point PPR league?
I would want another receiver.
All right. So with that, we have McLaurin or Ridley. McLaurin we have rated just ahead of Ridley. I know you love the risk. I can't even say that with a straight face. I know you love Calvin. Who would you prefer here, Terry McLaurin or Calvin Ridley? And I'll give you my thoughts after you tell me who you think you want to take.
I would prefer Terry McLaurin, but I do prefer Will Levis throwing me the ball. So I would go Calvin Ridley.
All right. I feel like I've overridden you too many times. I agree. I think the Tennessee Titans offense is going to be sneaky good or sneaky okay.
Sneaky better than Washington.
And I think Calvin really got the rust out of his system last year from his hiatus. Yeah. And I think he's primed to potentially surprise. So I know this is how close are these guys, McLaurin or Ridley, to you?
They're close. I think they're so close that the quarterback would be the deciding factor if they both came up like they are right now.
All right. I'm gonna take the veto power once again. We're gonna settle in on Calvin Ridley, and we're gonna see if Terry McLaurin makes it back to us. How's that?
Okay. Yeah. There's a couple other guys I'd be eyeing, like a Dunze or Dell or something. But yeah,
okay.
If McLaurin makes it back.
Did I not push it? There we go. Sorry. Calvin Ridley has been taken. He is now on our team. We are a very balanced team. 4 receivers, 2 running backs. It is over to CBS Sports, and we're hoping that this tier of quarterbacks makes it back to us. We have 3 bullets to dodge. Joe Burrow goes right away. So we only have 2 more bullets to dodge to get of that tier of quarterbacks. It is now over to ESPN as CBS just took Joe Burrow. Pardon me. Tank Dell goes to ESPN. One of our receivers we were thinking might come back to us.
Yep.
Now it is over to Yahoo.
Yahoo does not have a quarterback, so they might get it.
And you're right. And they take Kyler Murray. That's the guy I would have at the top of that group of 3. So this gamble so far is not paying off. We need Dak to make it all the way back.
There's no way another team picks 3 quarterbacks in a row. So we're safe for this next pick.
Right. Let's see. What's next here? So Kyler Murray just went. Adunze, man, our 2 receivers we had next on the board do not make it back. McLaurin is still out there though. So now it is over to Sleeper.
And Prescott's still out there too.
He is. We have 1 more bullet of that tier. Our gamble looks like it's getting thin. Kyle Pitts goes to Sleeper.
QB Sleeper? No,
to Sleep. No, sorry. Sleeper.com here.
Yep.
Dak Prescott. NFL.com takes Dak Prescott. Our gamble does not pay off. So we really better have a great year because we have now lost a tier of quarterback. And Raheem Mostert goes, a beautiful 7th round pick. That is a nice turn for NFL.com as they take Dak Prescott and Raheem Mostert.
Oh, yeah.
Now it's over to Sleeper Bot once again. And they don't have any running backs yet or a quarterback. They have all receivers. Does Sleeper Bot
wow.
here.
Oh, wow. Okay, Sleeper.
So they're going to need a running back.
Wake up. There we go.
Najee Harris. They're going to take, I don't mind. Like I said, I think he's going to have a good year. Like their metrics, schedule, coaching, opportunity, all the stuff that kind of coalesces. I think he's set to have a surprisingly very strong year.
Yeah, I agree. And that's their first running back. That's a good pick.
They weren't officially a 0 RB, but they went 0 RB, and that's kind of the perfect kind of guy for a 0 RB to take. And as late as the 7th round, it's pretty good.
Yep.
All right, so now we're on the official 0 RB team, and they take Keenan Allen. So they've got Adunze and Allen. They have both Bears receivers, not less DJ Moore.
It looks like somebody's been listening to our podcast.
Yeah, they must. Yeah. Terry McLaurin goes next. So
there's our receiver.
We chose Ridley, and that's the tier of guys we got. We weren't expecting to get both. It would have been nice to get 2, but we didn't get both.
No, that's okay.
All right, over to ESPN, and they take Jordan Love. So that if Bell has the next tiers, Jordan Love starts that next tier. You think Purdy and Love are in that next tier, right?
Yeah, I think so.
All right. So now it's over to CBS Sports, who just took a quarterback, and they sell it on Christian Kirk. So now it is back to the consensus, the Wingman Consensus team. Unfortunately, the gamble with the receivers wasn't that bad. We chose Ridley, and it would be nice to have another one in that same tier, but all those guys are gone. We definitely gambled, though, on the quarterback, thinking that we needed 1 of 3 to make it back, and they'd even make it out of the 6th round.
Yep.
So unfortunately, we're missing that. So now the choice is, do we want to take a quarterback here and drop down to our next tier? Who do you think our next tier is? Love was part of it. You mentioned Purdy. Who else is in Purdy's tier here?
One of my favorites, Jaden Daniels.
Okay.
And Caleb Williams.
Both those guys are available. So we've got, if you want to say a tier, Caleb Williams, Brock Purdy, Jaden Daniels. All right. Those are quarterbacks we would take. Now the question is, are they better than the positional players that are available? Let's see. DeAndre Swift is gone. Mostert's gone. So our consensus has, and again, this is probably being pulled up by me, I understand, is Javonte Williams.
Right.
Is our next positional player. Devin Singletary, which I have him way down. And I think Williams is way better than Singletary, guys. They're both starters. One guy's a bigger back, a little more versatile, I think.
Yeah.
Gus Edwards is a starter, but I think he's not as good as these guys.
Yeah.
All right, so it's clear positional-wise, and I don't think I have any receivers following close. Let me just see who the next receiver would be. Ooh, this is a tough one. Rashee Rice is available.
Ooh,
so we got Javonte Williams, a running back, one of our next tier quarterbacks, where, again, the whole tier is available. That's kind of the gamble. I hate doing that. I hate picking first of a tier.
Yeah.
Or then we have Rashee Rice.
No, I think we should just stick with it and get the Williams.
Javonte Williams, a starting running back here.
Starting running back, yep.
That way, if we're a little unsure about Stevenson or Kamara, we have another guy who's kind of in that tier of a starting running back, and we're just gonna let these guys sort themselves out and see who actually becomes our starter. They're all kind of equal level, I would say.
Yeah, and then that'll come down to like a scheduling thing. Who's playing who?
Right. I don't mind doing that. I like having guys that are 3 or 4 guys that are equal, and I'll stream them from my roster. Like these 3 guys are all starters, but he's got a better matchup. He goes in this week.
Yep.
All right, so we're going to pull the trigger here. Javonte Williams, I feel like I am overtaking some of these 50-50 calls. I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
All right, so next up will be Fantasy Pros, and they are on the clock here. And they take Chris Godwin. Do you think he fits in with the Keenan Allen, Terry McLaurin, or is he a lower tier?
A little bit lower.
George Kittle then goes.
That's a good one.
Now it's over to late QB streamer. They can't pick a quarterback yet. They take Brock Bowers. They take their second tight end, of course. So now it's over to Underdog Fantasy, who has all running backs right now, only one receiver.
He's definitely going receiver then.
Another, I think, yeah.
Yeah.
Or quarterback. They haven't taken a quarterback yet. They're an unofficial streaming quarterback pick, but looks like they're doing it. Deontay Johnson, he's a little quiet right now because of Carolina, but that's about where I think he could go or should go. Next is Ladd McConkey, the open strategy. Again, this guy's got a whack ranking. Ladd McConkey goes. And next will be for them for the open strategy of the primetime draft auto rankings here. They're a little behind. Sorry. They take Xavier Worthy. So they've got
he's a speedster. That's
receivers.
A good pick. That's a good pick.
You like that one?
Oh, yeah.
They have 3 rookie receivers on their lineup here, on their team.
Yeah, maybe
go ahead.
Maybe a little early on Worthy, but a good pick nonetheless.
Interestingly enough, Worthy goes ahead of the next pick, Rashee Rice. Jaden Daniels goes right here. So the first of that tier of 3, Daniels, Purdy, and Williams. So we have 2 of our guys left with only 2 picks to go. Zach Moss is taken. We're going to get one of our quarterbacks for the next tier. The gamble pays off this time around. So Zach Moss just went to the Real-Time Sports over to Fantasy Pros. They take Jaden Reed, wide receiver for the Packers. So now it's over to us. We gambled. We were talking about quarterbacks. We need one. We don't have one. And
let's do that quarterback.
So we got Purdy or Williams. You want should our first quarterback be a rookie who is impressive, or should our first quarterback be a steady guy on a great offense, and then we can maybe get a rookie type player for a backup quarterback? What do you think here?
Well, I think we should probably go with Purdy. This way we can have a good Purdy Samuel stack.
Oh, nice. Yep. Nice. That is a nice tiebreaker there. You're right. The other running back that I would consider, but I think we can get him later because he's hurt, is Nick Chubb. He's the guy I told you I want him. I just got to find that price because he is a player who can't play for you for who knows how long, and he's going to strap your IR spot for a long time and hamper your flexibility. So, I mean, it's not going to be 3 weeks. It's going to be 6, 7, 8 weeks, if not longer.
For us in this draft position, I think we missed out on our quarterbacks the last time coming around. So I think we need to.
I don't disagree. Yeah. It's too much of a gamble right now when we are already letting all these quarterbacks go, or all these quarterbacks have already gone by. And this gamble worked out good. We got probably the top guy of that tier by waiting around. And either way, we had our choice of 2 of the 3. So we put in Brock Purdy into the machine here. So we have him on our team as our starting quarterback. We are going to need more quarterback help, but he's a solid guy to get us going. Next up here is CBS Sports. Let's see who they take here. Nick Chubb. So that's how early Nick Chubb is going to go from a site that is not a targeting site. Like they just have him ranked. So potentially Nick Chubb is an 8th round pick if you want him. If you think I'll take him at a good value, wait till 9, 10, 11. If you want him, it's going to be round 8, 9 at the latest for a target type of pick. Next, ESPN has their defenses ranked high. Cleveland Browns go, the first defense off the board. And that's not unfamiliar.
Who's picking for ESPN?
Yeah, well, there's usually one defense that goes in the 8th or 9th round and one kicker in the 9th, 10th, or 11th round. So they're just a team to do it. Next is Yahoo Sports, and they take Marquise Brown, who is injured, but he should be ready by week 1 or 2. Caleb Williams goes to our 0 RBs.
There goes
so that's their 3rd quarterback. So they've got 2 they've got all young quarterbacks, all up and coming, but they can let them shake themselves out. So we have a mix-up here. I thought they were done with their receivers. So it said, what's his name? Jamison Williams, but we're going to back that out, and they're going to end up taking Tony Pollard. So that was I had to do a little commissioner tool there because I thought they were over their limit. We find out, let me double check. Actually, they could take a receiver, but that's okay. So Pollard went. So Pollard's a second running back paired up with Harris. Not too bad.
Not too bad.
And then David Njoku goes to NFL.com.
Oh, NFL.com was doing so good until that pick.
Yeah, and they also took Jake Ferguson. So they are
wow,
tight
they're
end.
just they're letting themselves down there.
So now you can see on the draft board we clean up the Tony Pollard pick.
Mm-hmm.
Can't see because I'm kind of blocking it here. I'm getting these picks back together here. So let me just let this sort itself out. There now the Ferguson pick goes. I kind of teased that a little bit. I had to do a little correction. So now it's back to Sleeper Bot once again. And they went unofficially 0 RB with Harris, then Pollard, and Jalen Warren. So they're getting those 50-50 ones, hoping that they might become, and they handcuffed Najee Harris. So they've got, for a 0 RB, they have the Pittsburgh backfield wrapped up.
Oh yeah.
Christian Watson then goes to the 0 RB. The 0 RB team has yet to take an RB. And now we're over to Yahoo, who takes Tajay Spears. So we've got both Titans running backs taken very close together, the end of round 8 and the top of round 9. Pollard did go first, but that's about how far apart they would be. Brian Robinson then goes to ESPN. Now it's over to CBS Sports.
They got to take a receiver, CBS Sports.
Then they do. That's only their third receiver if you count Kelsey. DeAndre Hopkins goes right there. Yep. Not bad. I think that's all right. So it's over to us right here.
Yep.
So let's see. So we don't need a quarterback. So that's good. But just to look, was Jared Goff is available at the next tier. Is Tua available?
Tua is available.
So we've got that group of Tua. Whoever I just said Goff.
I would grab Tua on the way back.
And then there's someone else that I felt was in that tier. Goff.
Trevor Lawrence.
Do you think Trevor Lawrence is in that tier?
Yeah. I mean, we could put Justin Herbert in that tier. We could put a couple people in that tier.
So the way I'm looking at it with these quarterbacks, whenever there's 3 or 4 of a tier, I'm not taking the first one. You know what I mean?
Yeah. See, I've got that tier at a tier 3, and I've got Tua, Caleb, Aaron, Watson. Is Watson still out there? He's still out there. Trevor Lawrence.
So you got a lot of guys that are kind of. You got a lot of guys that are kind of even.
Yeah, they're in that tier, and there's a lot of them out there. I think we can wait on that quarterback.
So we can wait. So positional, we have Gus Edwards is next up on our list. Let's compare him to who else might be available.
Gus.
That's most. I'm way down the list here. Ezekiel Elliott, who is next to what we have up here in terms of position.
The Gus buzz. Aren't you a UCF fan?
Oh yeah. So I definitely have Gus Edwards way ahead of Ezekiel Elliott. We talked about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. The next guy I have up who's available at the position is Cortland Sutton. So I think it's pretty easy with Gus Edwards here if we don't take a second quarterback.
Yeah, let's hold off on the quarterback. I think we should do that.
And again, what I like about this, we don't have that superstar running back. We've got 4 guys who are all the starters for their teams.
And Chubb's already gone, and I think Gus Edwards is the right pick.
I think of this group of 4, we can find 2 running backs to play every week. Definitely 1 based on matchups.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, who's the next player to go? Oh, I forgot we had Devin Singletary in that group as well. So Devin Singletary is available. I didn't mention before, would you have preferred Singletary over Gus, or is that the right pick?
I've got them RB28 and RB29.
Okay.
So either one would have been fine. So Gus Edwards was just above Singletary for me.
All right. Austin Eckler just goes now over to our late QB streamer. Did I miss a pick for them? I didn't. I don't think I mentioned they took Jaden Daniels. Oh, I did. So they were late QB streamer, and they went Daniels and Tagovailoa. So being that they waited for quarterback, and I know this team's rankings are jacked up. That's a pretty good tandem. You got the rookie and the veteran to pair up to see how that goes for them.
Yeah, that's a good back-to-back there.
All right, Chase Brown went to underdog, back over to open strategy. Brian, this Open Strategy loves rookie wide receivers. This is their 4th rookie wide receiver taken with Brian Thomas of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Maybe they think it's a dynasty draft.
Maybe, I don't know. Trey Benson, I'm not sure if he's a rookie, but he's a young player. They have a running back. Their first running back is Trey Benson. This is dangerous. Open Strategy, they're going to have to trade one of those quarterbacks, if not both, to get some running back help. And then Underdog takes Jared Goff, so another one of that tier is gone.
Yeah.
Over to the late QB streamer, they just taken Daniels and Tagovailoa, and now they sell him with Jackson Smith and Jigba. I'm not a huge fan, but at the 10th round, that is a pretty solid pick.
Yeah, I think so.
Over to Real Time Sports. Just so you guys know, we're gonna end this at 10 at the end of this round here, the 10th round, just because the last 4 picks are not irrelevant, but it's taking some time here. So Ezekiel Elliott goes. Yuck.
Yeah, that's the bottom of my tier 4. It's still better than a Trey Benson pick that got picked.
Yeah, I
before.
agree there. I agree. Fair enough. So it's over to Fantasy Pros, and they take Dallas Goedert. So it is back over to us. This is our last pick of this mock draft that we're going to go through today. We had a group of quarterbacks we were hoping would make it. You included Tagovailoa, Goff, Herbert, Rodgers. So I think we're gonna take a quarterback here. We need one.
Caleb's already gone, right?
Caleb's gone, right? It's not a sexy group.
So
They're
I got
a solid group.
So we got Rodgers left, Watson left, Trevor Lawrence left, Goff is gone.
Of this group, I think I'd have Herbert ahead. I'm not saying that's the right pick or not, but I've also vetoed you so many times. So I'm gonna let you pick the quarterback that you take here.
Ooh, you got looking at Herbert, huh? I have him in a tier with Stafford, Herbert, and Geno Smith, which is a little bit later for me.
Okay,
I would rather have Goff or Lawrence or Rodgers. With Garrett Wilson being a number 1, top 5 receiver, would you say Garrett Wilson?
Potentially.
Yeah. All right. We'll call him number 6. Top 10.
Okay.
He's a top 10 receiver.
Yeah. I would say yes.
I think Aaron's got a lot to prove. I think he might be the best pick for quarterback since Tua is already gone.
And I think Rodgers is one of those players, again, you're going to know within 3 weeks if he's got it or not.
Yeah. And for him, if we've got Purdy, he's Mr. Consistent. I think we'll be okay.
All right. We're going to pull the trigger here on
a little gamble.
That's fine. Hey, this is a mock draft. We're going to find out here.
Yep.
So let's put it in there. It's going to take a second. Pardon me. All right. Aaron Rodgers is now off the board. Over to CBS Sports.
I just want to say one thing about the Aaron Rodgers pick. Sorry, Michelle.
Oh, fair enough. All right. Over to CBS Sports. They take the Jets, our second
what
defense.
In the world?
It is 2 rounds later, but I'm just going to ask you the question. Cleveland Browns or Jets, who would you take first if you had the choice?
Oh, Cleveland. I have the Jets in my 3rd tier, and I would not take Cleveland number 1. Cleveland's the 4th defense I've got rated. I'd take the Baltimore defense number 1.
All right.
I don't know what's going on here.
That's fine. Justin Tucker gets taken by ESPN. Now it's over to Yahoo. And they are very heavy with their receivers. Are they going to try and bolt? There's not too many running backs left. They take Trevor Lawrence.
It's a good pick.
So that's their second quarterback. They've got Murray and Lawrence. Over to the 0 RB team. This is their first chance, or they haven't taken an RB yet. Whether they take one now or not will be up to them. And the Blake Corum will be their starting running back.
Oh, man. They're on
0
auto
RB
draft.
is tough this year. Our next team here is the Sleeper Bot. Let's see who they take. Come on, Sleeper. Make your pick.
You could do it.
3, 2, 1. Sleeper. They take Justin Herbert for their first quarterback. That's not bad to wait that long for that to be your starting quarterback. And the last pick we're going to go through right here is Jordan Addison. So we're going to pause it right there. Give me 1/2 second. I'm going to do some things here. I'm going to move it because we actually did go through this earlier. So we're going to get it to the very end. There it is. And we're going to get this full screen as we talk about some of our picks. Let's see if I can do this. All right, there's actually one pick left on the board. That's perfect. So we're going to talk about our team here. Let's talk about our team while it's going through this. Well, actually, before we talk about our team, I want to bring up the teams that either by settings or just the way it worked out went 0 or QB streamers. We'll start with that.
Okay.
So we have Sleeper Bot, who didn't take their first quarterback till round 10. They got Justin Herbert. I would say in terms of what quarterback they got, that worked out pretty well.
It did, but you're more of a Herbert fan than I am, so
Fair.
I probably would have swung a little harder that late for some bigger upside, even though he does have a new
Well, then I think
coach.
I think you're like this other team that also waited to the 10th round to get their first quarterback, and that's Underdog Fantasy, who took Jared Goff. Do you like that better?
Yes, I like that pick better than the Herbert pick.
So we're looking at teams that waited on quarterbacks, either streaming or try to find the best possible value. And we have two teams, Sleeper and Underdog. And a lot of this is dictated based on the open strategy team who took 3 quarterbacks early. But if you look, those same quarterbacks would have gone in those same rounds. They just happen to be on that team.
Yeah.
So I don't think it really affected the overall draft board. It just weighted it on one side kind of thing. Like those guys are still going to go in the second, third, and fourth rounds, no matter how you look at it.
Yeah, but it might have lit a fire underneath the 0 hero RB team that got there to Stroud and Richardson right after that.
All right. So looking at this board here again, I'm looking at least 2 teams that catch my attention, if I'm not mistaken, that went, you would say 0 RB, either by setup or by chance. The open strategy team waited to the 10th round to take their first running back, and 0 RB also waited to the 10th round. And to be fair, both these teams were run by the primetime draft, auto draft simulator here. So they both took rookies as their first running backs. Blake Corum in the 10th for 0 RB and Trey Benson for the open strategy team. And those are horrible first running backs. If you're going to wait, I don't think you can wait that long to get a running back, obviously.
No, I don't think so either. There's not much there. It's funny that those two guys, Zeke is sandwiched between those two guys.
Yes.
It just kind of shows you where everybody's head is on Zeke.
Yeah. So I would say if you want to go 0 RB, Sleeper did it the way that's most, I would say most common. They waited to the 7th round, and they have Najee Harris, Tony Pollard, and Jalen Ward for their.
Yeah.
And not only did they also have Chuba Hubbard, who's going to start for the first 3 to 4 weeks, if not longer. So honestly, being that they waited so long to get any running backs, they've got the Pittsburgh backfield all wrapped up. They've got a strong 50-50 player in Tony Pollard and an opening day starter in Chuba Hubbard to get them through while they figure out how to maybe improve their team. So I would say Sleeper has the best 0 RB team out there.
Yeah, I would say so.
Best running backs of the 0 RB teams.
In that 10th round, though, I'm looking down 2 more rounds at the 12th round, and the late QB streamer picked up Jerome Ford. I might have taken Ford if I was going to wait that long to try for Benson, Elliott, or Corum.
Yeah.
Just because Ford, I think, is the better back.
He's similar.
He might not be in the best position, but he's better than all 3 of those guys right now.
Yeah, he's similar to Chuba Hubbard, but regardless of what his end of season outcome is, he's going to be the starter for the first.
Exactly.
For him, it could be 7 weeks. And now these don't take into account the latest news of injuries, but with Deontay Foreman and Pierre Strong being injured for the Browns, he's going to definitely have that backfield mostly to himself for the first 4 to 8 weeks. He might be a season-long play. Who knows if Chubb ever actually gets back on the field?
Exactly. So Jerome Ford looks like a steal down there in that late 12 round.
All right. So that's the teams that had like late, hold off on a particular position. All right. Now let's look at the team that matters here. Wingman Consensus Ranking Team. Again, these are the in-between Bernie and our picks here in terms of rankings. And of course, they've changed a little bit since the last time we printed out these sheets. Yeah. So there were a little him and hawing here. He let me win the battles on most of the time. But I would say our receiving core is amazing. Even if you don't like the particular players, the quality of those type of players to be 1, 2, 3 receivers is awesome with Jamar Chase, Devontae Adams, and Deebo Samuel. What do you think about that receiving core?
Yeah, I would take that. If somebody said, "Hey, this is going to be your receiving core," I would say, "Okay, I'm okay with that. Let's figure everything else out. I'm okay with that."
Let's do a little exercise here with other teams that have early receivers. The other team that took 3 receivers in their first 3 picks was Sleeper, and they took Lamb, London, Olave. And honestly, Lamb and Chase are close. I mean, you know, Lamb had a better year last year, but I would say those guys are close enough. And I'd say Adams and Samuel are better than London and Olave.
I agree with that 100%.
The other team that's got a interesting 3 tier of receivers, they dropped one further down, so they've got a running back already in the mix, is Garrett Wilson, Michael Pittman, Cooper Kupp. There's some holes there. Kupp is a great value that might bolster it. Pittman, I think, has got some questions, and Garrett Wilson he's like the Drake London. You're hoping he blows up, but not an automatic. So I don't think that's bad, but I'd say that's the next best team with the 3 receivers early. Wilson, Pittman, Kupp.
Yeah, I think so. I even think that they probably could have switched their first and second pick. I think if they would have picked Garrett Wilson first overall for them, they might have gotten Barkley on the comeback because Taylor and Gibbs are okay to go ahead of Barkley, from my opinion.
And if they didn't get Barkley, they would have got either Taylor or Gibbs.
Exactly.
So that's or Kyron Williams at the worst.
Yeah. So I think it's okay. That's not a bad set. It's not as good as ours, but it's not a bad set.
And again, for our league, we can play. We start 2 receivers and we have 2 flexes. So we also have Calvin Ridley, who's a potential starter. We don't have to start him, but we can start him if he, like I said, shakes off the rust from last year and he becomes a viable player. We can play up to our 4th receiver. And I think Ridley might be the best 4th receiver on anyone's team.
Yeah, probably. And I wouldn't rule anything away from Shakir. He's a speedster, so
he's your dart throw. He's your first guy cut, but let's see what happens.
If for some reason Ridley just can't hack it anymore, he's not a bad 4th option if you wanted to play a receiver.
And that's like last year. I picked Nico Collins for my last pick in the entire draft, as he was the young guy who hasn't quite showed it yet, but he had flashes. Shakir could be that guy this year.
Yeah, I agree with that. The only other person though, if we go back over to the Lamb, London, Olave.
Sure.
Their top 3 is good, but their 4th is pretty good too. McBride is going to be a big part of that offense. So I wouldn't rule him out to be a really good wide receiver, tight end position holder.
So he was definitely taking multiple rows ahead, but so it's fair to say he is rated higher, but you take McBride over Ridley / McLaurin?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I mean, he's 2 rounds ahead. He should, but I'm just. Do you think they're 2 rounds apart in value?
I think based on this draft and the way things were going, I think it's an okay position for him. Yes.
So being that we have Ridley as our 4th receiver and our potential second flex, our running back room is again mid-tier. I'll admit mid-tier, but they're all mid-tier. No drop-offs, I would say.
Yeah, they all have about the same floor, and they're not gonna be roller coaster rides.
And we only have to play one of them. So between these 4, we can play literally the best matchup of these running backs every week. And if it turns out we have more than one playable guy, or two that happen to have good matchups in a week, we don't have to choose between the 2. We can put them in and sit either Ridley or whatever bye week of the other receivers. So I actually like this group of 4 and the versatility they give us, and the oh crap, I got to play this guy. We can literally play the best matchup between these 4, and I think we've got a solid floor among all of them.
Yeah, and I think, just looking at the players and looking at the teams, I like the Kamara, Stevenson as players, but I like Williams and Edwards as the coaches on those particular teams.
Gotcha.
And I think those coaches will get those guys involved.
All right, so I think we've talked about this enough a little bit. So let's let this end of this play here, and it's going to give us the draft grades based on this draft board.
Wait, can we make some predictions before we do that?
Yep. Yes, hold on. You can't see it, but it says the best grade is A, but it doesn't say who it's gone to yet. I paused it right before then. So yes,
okay.
Give us your thoughts here.
Well, I'm just going to give our team a grade. I think our team is going to be a solid B minus.
I like our team. I think our team's very solid. I would agree. Around that B plus sounds pretty good to me. Did you say B minus? So B, anywhere between a B minus to B plus. Keep in mind the algorithm giving the grade here is the same one that drafted the open strategy team and took Trey Benson with their first running back. So keep that in mind. So we're going to let it go from there. So the best grade is an A. Again, you can't see this, so I'll read this out to you as it displays to me, okay?
Okay.
0 RB, 0 hero RB gets an A, and they have the best score. They might be tied, but they have the best score. And let's see. I don't love it. Their RBs are pretty bad.
Their RBs are bad, but the rest of their players are pretty good.
So the team that
got 3 quarterbacks that could be top 3 quarterbacks.
So I just want to be fair here. The team that the system that gave him the A is the same system that drafted that team.
So there should be another A coming for.
All right. So the worst grade is a D plus. It goes to Yahoo.
Yeah. Don't we play in a Yahoo league?
And everyone else is in between. It's going to show us all of our grades, and it finishes showing us we have a D plus.
Oh my goodness!
So I'm going to tell you right now, in my opinion.
Yeah, opinions. That's all.
I love this draft board program for its draft board usage.
Yep.
But for its ranking of players and grading of players, I think it is way off base. But we're not trying to hide. We're going to show you what they think of our team. You make your own assessments. So it has us at a D plus, tied with the worst grade in the league.
I'm okay with that.
Let's get that off the board. Just so you know, Bernie, we are back on the back in camera here.
Okay.
So this episode went very long, but that's all right. We went through a nice. Sorry, we got a weird system here. Let me turn that off. Zip by yellow block. We tried some new graphics there, a little technical difficulties. But anyway, so a little long, but this is our mock draft to show you where our we just went right off our list. Little conversation in there for the Wingman Consensus, but for the sleeper, NFL.com, Yahoo, ESPN, CBS Sports, Fantasy Pros, Real Time Sports, and Underdog, I literally took the next player off of their list just to kind of show you where they're, because anyone can pick the next player they like, but what is the one that they're saying to go with? And then you can kind of see what adjustments you might have to make if you're using those sites or using our site, for example. So let's see. Let me close that down and get back to, I don't need to see that board anymore. All right. I think I don't have anything else written down here. So any other thoughts you want to mention on the mock draft in general there, Mr. Bernie?
No, if you guys didn't catch it, I am also very happy, if that's a thing, with Sanders as our kicker and Detroit as our defense.
Okay, yeah, I've got to mention that.
Detroit has so much potential as a defensive powerhouse. So
I think so too. Actually, they're a sleeper defense for me.
Yeah, I hope this is the year. If that was my team that I actually drafted, I'd be okay with those two. Sanders for sure, but defense, I'm okay with Detroit.
Detroit's been bolstering their personnel with stud young players.
Yeah,
and I think they're getting to the point like there's a Hutchinson, I think.
Yep.
For example, and they have a guy in the secondary. I don't know their players great off the top, but they're blue chip guys, but they're one spot in the line. They can't make the line great by themselves, but now they're in the third or fourth year, and they've been still filling in the holes. And they're starting to get, if it's this year, next year, or the following, they're gonna become a very good defense. They've got some studs on that team.
Their defense is gonna hit right when their Super Bowl window is open, and they're gonna be dangerous, very dangerous.
And potentially by then they won't. I'm not saying they wouldn't pay Goff, but by then their defense might be so good they can just get a game manager. They won't need the offensive firepower. They can do it from their defense. So they've got offense now, defense later, and hopefully there's 2 years where they're both good at the same time for the Lions.
Exactly. And I like Goff. You know what? Just for you, Reggie, go Lions.
All right. So I also noticed, I don't know if I mentioned it before just because I forgot, you and I, after our draft positions, we're in the same division. We're in the pop division, so we're going to play each other twice this year. We will let our audience know when those matchups are coming up. And
Is that the Pop Warner division?
No, I just did a snap, crackle, pop for the name because of the 3 divisions.
Gotcha.
So yeah, we are Pop Warner.
Yeah.
Oh, I did mention that we're in the same division, but we will play each other twice, and we'll do some little friendly bets or wagers during those weeks where we play each other.
Oh yeah, for sure. Little rivalry. I like that.
All right, guys. So thank you very much. Don't forget you can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, TuneIn Radio, and YouTube Music. If you want to find any of our video feeds, go to our YouTube channel I'm going to change this. I've been very busy with the web thing. We're going to do wingmanfantasyfootball.com/YouTube. We're in front. YouTube's in the back. You can find us there or at wingmanentertainment.net/podcast. So go ahead and click the subscribe button, notification bell, leave a comment, guys. Let us know what you think about that mock draft. Which team is trash? How the grading went. I know you have to love the Wingman Consensus pick because it's the best one out there. With that being said, guys, may your glasses be full, your mug stay frosty.
And don't forget to go to the website and get your Wingman draft kit.
All right, very good. All right, guys, we'll see you next time.